Welcome everyone to another episode of Section 305, the sports show. I'm Raul Pagan. We got Nick Dupont, who is obviously happy because it was actually a big weekend for Miami teams, except for one. And then we got Anthony Aguirre, which we actually miss. He's our producer of this sports show. Anthony, welcome back. I know you've been busy, and
I am recovering.
we are
I
proud
have,
of all your
dude.
accomplishments that you've been doing lately. I mean, Nick and I, we be trying to hold everything in here. So,
Trying to hold the
I've been
fort
running
down.
on
That's all
fumes
we're
the
trying to
last
do.
2 weeks,
yeah.
boys. I have been running on fumes. So, but
And
we're here now. We're here now. That's all that matters.
it is what it is. It is what it is. All of
Oh
us
yeah.
have two minimum, maximum three jobs at the same time because we are executing, we are leveling up, and when we started this sports show, we let everybody know that if we have like a week or two that we don't have an episode going on, it's because we really busy. So, but now, like I said last time with Nick, when we had our headlines, we have a new sponsor coming in January. So, guys, little by little, we are getting to where what we visualize to do,
Mhm.
basically entertain and get people's attention, sponsors to be part of our show and not let them down, and just keep expanding.
Yep,
Keep
that's the goal.
expanding
Man,
and have different perspective of what we are creating, at the same time like our opinions to be something that the fan base, the audience have never heard before, like from a different side of things. And I'm very grateful since we, if not mistaken, Anthony, you know what number of episode this is?
I think we've already surpassed 20. I think, or
we
now we're
we have
close.
surpassed 20, and I think
Yeah.
this is
So it's been a
number
journey. This has
21.
been a journey. There's a lot of arguing, a lot of fun moments, a lot of
A
viral
lot of
moments. Love it.
debating. None of us agree with anything, and so like the first topic is actually gonna be interesting because I'm still trying to wrap my mind around to see how I can
But we'll get
disagree
there when
with
we
one
get
of
there. I
the
haven't had time to think
with,
about it.
with one of your answers. But before that, since this is section 305, the sports show, it was almost a perfect weekend for South Florida teams. We saw Florida Panthers winning yesterday 4-1, dominating. They've had their ups and downs, also because of injuries. But this is a team that came in sixth place and won back-to-back championships. So never cast out the Florida Panthers of being a threat in the East. No matter if they have a rough start, it's not about how you start; it's about how you finish. So the Panthers are still a threat
He
in
doesn't work. He
that
doesn't
in
work.
that in that conference. We seen both of them with the U. They made the playoffs. Me and Nick were talking about last week in last episode about how the committee, if the season would have ended, guys, and there was no conference championships, U Miami would have been left out. And we were all mad about that because if they have the tiebreaker with the same record with Notre Dame, I don't care if Notre Dame won the last 10 games. They started 0-2. All right. They were the hottest team afterwards.
But
And they
also,
and they participated in the ACC for 1 year. Do you guys remember that in 2020?
Yep. Yeah, I
They
remember that.
they basically said that, oh, we're too good for this. All right, sounds good. Sounds good. So now what happened this year that you lost the first game against U Miami? You lost a second straight game. You were the hottest team in the last 10 weeks of the stretch. But then you guys feel you got disrespected because Miami got into the playoffs over you guys. That's what I'm like. I don't
Well,
understand.
I don't want to be that stickler though, because you guys know me. I'm very pro Miami. Uh, I do believe that Notre Dame should have made the playoff, and them declining their
Over
bowl.
who? Over who?
I think they
Luis?
should have made it over Oklahoma or Alabama. Honestly, I think they would have put up a better fight than either one of those two teams.
I will pick
Oklahoma.
over Alabama. I will pick over Alabama because
You
they
know,
got humiliated against Georgia.
No, of course, and the committee obviously they don't really take conference championships into a factor, especially when you're losing to a big team like Georgia, I guess. But even Oklahoma, man, Oklahoma's one of those teams where they have an exciting defense, but their offense is just they've looked awful in the past few weeks. And compared to Notre Dame's offense, I think that would have been great. I do think it would have been better to have Miami and Notre Dame go up head to head for the first game of the playoff round, but unfortunately we didn't get that because the committee's just they're
Anthony, you got something to contribute with that?
Oh yeah, I'm glad they're left out. Listen, the past couple of days since the announcement, all I've
I
seen
mean,
on
they made it to the national
they've
championship
taken
last
themselves
season.
out of the bowl. They've taken themselves out of the bowl game in like a protest to this thing.
I
And
respect it.
and again in an era now where again they're making so many changes to the format, and now you have the conference championships play a bigger factor. You're not part of a conference at all, and you just expect to just get in just because you're
Facts.
the brand of
Facts.
college football. I'm
I
not
agree with
with
that.
I'm not with that. I'm not with that. And the fact that I feel like I wouldn't be this salty if we didn't see the amount of insanity we saw with the committee and the resistance to match them up, even though they're in the same tier, and then to disqualify head to head until it finally mattered, which thank God it did. But I just feel super salty about it just because, like, how like you guys just think you just get in? Like, just because you're the brand, just because you have a cupcake schedule that you just happen to take advantage of? Like, come on now. No.
I agree. I agree with Nick. I agree with Nick that they still should have been inside. Like, if we were gonna take somebody out, it would be Alabama. Cause remember, guys.
But this is the message.
Remember, guys.
This should send a message. This should send a message. Join a conference, and then maybe you wouldn't get disqualified the same way you just did. Because you only have like 2 ranked victories that are against the bottom tier top 25. The Pitt, and what was the other one? USC. That's their only. That's the 2 ranked one. Meanwhile, Miami had 4. Miami had 4 against ranked opponents. 4-0. That's the best ratio out of all college football, and they did it in majority outside of I would say what was it? Outside of the Seminoles, every other one was in dominant fashion. Against Notre Dame, it was dominant until the 4th quarter. Against the Gators, that was dominant as hell. Against the South Florida Bulls, dominant as hell. Like, come on now. You're just going to disqualify all of that? Get out of here.
What I'm actually going to say about the committee's decision is that Alabama lost to Florida State at the beginning of the season.
That's a big one. That is a very big one.
And Alabama was ranked top 10. Florida State was out of the top 25. And that was their first loss of the season. Then they made adjustments. They went on a roll. And then their second loss, if I'm not mistaken, it was against Alabama, because that was a big win against Georgia, which they won 24-21 during the season. And that's why they were escalating positions every single week. But Alabama, after they had a second loss, I'm sorry for the audience. Here just to make sure I don't make a mistake. It was against Oklahoma when they were ranked top 4. Oklahoma was 11, and that's the same team that they're facing in the first round. And that's the same team they're facing in the first round. So what I'm trying to say is, remember, the committee evaluates, the teams that are ranked top 25. Who do they play? Are they out of the top 25? If they're out, if they lose, they're going to be, I'd say, regressing.
Yeah.
They're going to be regressing. If they lose against a top 25, depending on the margin of the points, the point difference, that's how they evaluate. All right, it was a close game, so they're going to drop 3 positions. If they were humiliated, like we just saw against Georgia, I feel like they should have been out of the playoffs. But since it's Alabama and it creates rating, even though Nick Saban's not the coach, it's Kalen DeBoer. Like Crimson Tide for decades has been one of the best marketing programs in college football history. So they also take that in consideration. Me and Nick had a big argument because he was disagreeing with me about the comparison of the Georgia and Florida State Orange Bowl when Georgia humiliated them 63-3. Remember, Florida State had their third strings. They didn't have even their second strings because after Jordan Travis got injured, they didn't believe that they could have won the bowl game after they were excluded from the playoffs. So basically, they just threw the towel. And I understand ratings. This is a mafia. NCAA has been the most corrupted system ever. I said it in the last episode. I've said it to you, Anthony, numerous times.
Mm-hmm.
I understand what we watch. Remember that national championship game between Georgia and TCU, 65-7?
Yeah.
TCU obviously got in because they were undefeated. They were one of the best ranked teams in the league. Obviously, that was before they started expanding. But since then, that's why now the NCAA is taking a little bit more in consideration, a little bit more serious. Who are they going to be putting in the playoffs? Because they don't want to see those type of humiliation games. So I understand, Nick, what happened in the Orange Bowl between Georgia and Florida State. I understand what happened in the national championship between Georgia and TCU and what we've seen in other playoff games. But at the same time, teams that stay undefeated, depending on the schedule, obviously that's going to be evaluated. The only thing I was disagreeing with you, even though Jordan Travis was out, they still should have been in the playoffs. But obviously the NCAA is going to see that they're going to be humiliated to whichever team they face in the playoffs. And so, sadly, we got to cut them out. And we got to put somebody that can actually give us better TV ratings and can actually give us a better ball game. I understand. It's a business. Sports right now, collegiate and professional level, it's a business. But I still disagree why Florida State got caught out of the college football playoffs a couple of years ago. And so in this case, Notre Dame, maybe, they were the hottest team, and they actually could give a better challenge than some teams. But for the committee to leave Miami out, if there was no conference championship games, because if there was no conference championship games, Miami would have been out of the playoffs. You know that, right?
No, 100%.
Wait, let Nick jump in on this.
My thing is with having Bama inside of the college football playoff right now. Yes, it's great that they are in because yes, it is a good marketing team. Outside of that, man, they have not looked competitive towards anybody. And there are times where they look really good, and there's times where Ty Simpson looks like he just can't even throw a ball correctly. And we saw that last week with Georgia, where
Ty Simpson has having a good season. It was this game that he was exposed. Let's just say maybe.
Even before that, against the game against Auburn, he really showed out who he really was in big moments. I don't feel like Ty Simpson's the type of quarterback that's going to be able to take Bama to that promised land, especially compared to Notre Dame. I feel like Notre Dame would have a better shot overall, especially against Oklahoma. Again, Bama though, I really don't feel like they belong. I mean, in the sense that if Tulane and JMU did not make their championships or whatever, and they weren't ranked and they had bad records, then I'd say they should make it because that's how it should be. But again, man, I'm going back to what I said last episode. I feel like, especially the way that the current format is set, conferences that are heavy stacked with teams like the SEC, for example, with Texas, Oklahoma, Georgia, Bama, they need to start disbanding those teams and separating them into other conferences. They obviously won't do it because it's not going to generate them that much money, but they really should, just for the sake of college football, because then at that point it'd be a lot more fair of a system. I'd feel like, you would have LSU playing against You put LSU, South Carolina, and a bunch of other teams in one little conference, just to say that we throw them in the American Conference. And then at that point, you start getting little teams from the ACC that are pretty competitive and switching them from the American over. And I feel like it would make college football a lot more interesting in that aspect instead of what we have now, where you have two teams that clearly don't belong. I don't want to say clearly don't belong, but I'm going to say it. That clearly don't belong in this year's college football playoff, like JMU and Tulane, and they're most likely going to get destroyed against Ole Miss and Oregon. Yeah, JMU.
Madison.
Yeah, James
you
Madison.
Really think? I feel like they deserve to be in the playoffs.
Well, listen, man. Compared to their schedule against Oregon, I don't see them having a chance against Oregon this week.
Let me ask you guys this. So, let me ask you guys this just to help cap this topic off so we can get to our headlines. Mm-hmm. Do you think Notre Dame would be in the playoffs right now had they been in the conference, any conference?
Yeah.
Depending on if they won.
Yeah, that's the issue. That's the issue because they didn't want to be in the conference in the ACC.
Well, even
they basically say that after that 1 year, that we're too good for this. So we either rather be in another conference or be isolation, not even being. So that's a disrespect to the ACC.
Well, this is the problem with being isolated.
Because have you seen, guys? Remember, teams like Duke, Virginia, Miami, they're more recognized as basketball teams.
Not lately, the U is more football than basketball.
I mean, Anthony, Miami has had better success this decade. Because last decade they didn't have it. They have it by the
you look at the U.
By the beginning of the 21st century, Miami was a contending team. But last decade, Miami was not that big of a threat.
But even
they had one of the best. They have one of the best defenses. They had a U chain and this and that.
Raul, when you first hear about the U, you think of football, even without the success of many years. You don't think about basketball.
Sorry to cut you off, Anthony, but even
they made the Final Four for the first time this decade.
And props to it. Props to that, but
that's one time compared to Miami, at least making top 25 in college football in some of those years. Miami was never really that competitive, but even you can go back to 2017, for example, a team that had no reason to belong in the top 10 at all, where you had Malik Rozier as your starting quarterback, and then when they stomped Virginia Tech and then had to go and then played Notre Dame the following week and then stomped them, everyone was like, oh my God, dude, like this is some of the best success we've seen from Miami and God knows how long. When you think about Miami, you don't think about basketball necessarily. Like, yes, you think about basketball with Duke, Virginia, but they've been growing their schools, and Virginia's been growing their athletic program in regards of football, and Duke, especially now that they have Manny Diaz. Manny Diaz is trying to form his own little thing that he tried to make in Miami, and now he's just bringing all that culture from Miami into Duke, and it's working out for him clearly as he won the ACC championship with that Duke team. But for the most part, Matt.
So since you mentioned that, sorry for cutting you off, but this is actually a question for both of you. So how does it make sense? I mean, ACC conference in football, at least, it doesn't make sense at all. Like, so how does a 7-5 team, non-ranked top 25, make it to the ACC championship game? And then Virginia, who is 18 ranked, both of them over Miami. How does that make sense?
Well, none of them are sexy.
Well,
what?
That's
what?
I mean, the committee. I mean,
no. I need you. No. I need a little bit more facts than that.
If you're the committee, you're not looking at Duke or Virginia as serious. You're just not.
So how is that the ACC championship game?
I don't know. The standings and tiebreakers were a mess this year. That's why this whole thing came down to a final finish.
That's the issue.
So right now, like, the records don't even matter. That's what's crazy.
No. Okay, records don't
matter.
They're
number one in their conference.
Okay, yes, but the thing is, they're not going to put a 5-loss team like Duke into the playoff. Duke won their turn.
No. You're not understanding me. I'm not talking about postseason. How does Duke and Virginia make the ACC championship game?
Let them get there.
Duke won majority of their conference games. that is why they made it to the conference championship. They owned a lot of other tiebreakers that Miami did not have over them, unfortunately. And Virginia only, I think, lost to one team in the ACC this entire season. And Virginia didn't even play Miami, if I'm not mistaken. So if you add those two together, and you have Miami losing to two ACC teams this season in SMU and Louisville, you just at that point Duke is going to make it, and and then the committee's going to look at that and be like, okay, well, if Virginia wins, we're going to have to put Virginia in because they only have one loss on the entire season. They played a relatively nice schedule for the ACC and what the ACC does stand for. So that's a team we can put in because they're already automatically ranked. The reason why Miami fans were praying that Virginia lost that game, and thankfully they did, was so that they did have their shot. Because if Virginia did win that game, the committee probably would have sat down for a second and been like, okay, Virginia's ranked, they won the ACC championship, and they only have one loss in their schedule against conference opponents. Now we're probably going to take a look at their head-to-head and see how many actual ranked teams that they played, but they look competitive enough to go in. Now, when you look at Duke, for example, not competitive enough. Their team is just not overall there, But again, they have the conference win, so that's why they qualified.
You made sense out of everything that you just spilled over here, but I'm still disagreeing that with the record of a team that is up out of the top 25, and then a team that is not better ranked than you, Miami,
100%.
for at least, let's just say, not even the Hurricanes making it to the championship game against a non-ranked team, and then a team that is not better ranked than them, that just still don't care how they played in their conference, don't care if Miami has 2 losses in that conference and Virginia only has 1, and then Duke was the better team in that conference. That's still not supposed to be evaluated.
Well, of course, it's not supposed to be evaluated. But again, the committee's going to find and nitpick every little single detail that they can just to justify something for a team. Like even the ACC, for example, as soon as Duke won the ACC championship, they went on their Twitter profile and started posting pictures and claiming that Duke should be part of the college football playoff, which was insane to see.
Was stupid.
That the ACC. The ACC committee going on their own Twitter and posting that.
No, that's stupid. That's stupid.
I couldn't believe it.
They just chat GPT their season and try to make a case out of it.
Literally.
Honestly, yeah. But but then you look at other teams in the ACC, and a lot of people say that the ACC is dying this season and is probably going to die after this year. I kind of disagree. I don't
agree with that.
I think SMU is going to be very good.
I feel like if you guys haven't noticed, like Clemson is still there. Dabo Swinney, like unless he leaves that program, he's still gonna try to make moves to get that team as contenders. Florida State is still there, even though after disappointing Alabama and then having a 3-0 start, all of a sudden they regressed. Duke is actually becoming a team that, especially with Mario Cristobal, that they can recruit players to be contenders. Have you guys forgot about North Carolina? I know Bill Belichick did a awful job with them, but didn't Drake May part of that team? And now he's actually the new face of the franchise for the Patriots. So it's not it's not only about them being contenders or not. It's about them recruiting players that can be all-stars in the NFL, that can be future prospects. So I disagree with that. Like FSU, North Carolina, even Syracuse, Clemson, Pittsburgh, didn't they actually had an explosive offensive game before playing Miami? Didn't they beat Georgia Tech 42-28?
Yep.
All of a sudden, Miami, let's just say that they exposed them. And so, like, that's still a conference that can still recruit good high school players, either the quarterback side, wide receivers, running backs, defensive side, safeties, cornerbacks, whatever. I feel like the ACC is still a good conference. Like, we're concluding the first half of this decade, and then now starting the second half. I feel like that conference still could be actually a good competition.
Bill Belichick got internal issues right now. He got too much going on. Too
Well,
much
I feel like
distractions, right?
there's a lot of that, but the problem with the main thing with North Carolina, and he established at the beginning of the season that this is a process that they're trying to make, and a lot of the guys are really on for that process, regardless of how bad the season went. A lot of the guys don't seem down in that locker room actually, from what I've heard. A lot of the guys are actually on board with the process. They understand this is a time thing, that this isn't going to happen in just one season.
Yeah,
And,
yeah,
and in
that's
college
fair.
football,
But
and in college football,
yeah,
anything can happen, in the sense of like,
no,
yeah, some teams just
but
need that one season to make that jump.
my
What were you
only
gonna say?
concern is just my only concern really is just Bill's like his
His
friendly
personal
lady.
life.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
because
again,
it's
the school.
it's a
Anthony,
lot, and you got
Anthony,
Pablo Torre over here
Anthony,
exposing a lot of stuff right
Anthony,
now that's going to
Anthony,
court.
Anthony,
It's too much
Anthony. Come
outside
on,
noise,
man.
I think, right now.
Well, that's why the school itself is doing a good job at keeping her away from the facility. Regardless of his personal life, Bill Belichick has always been about football, football first. And again, I don't
Yeah,
think North Carolina's gonna have a bad job this offseason
Anthony.
getting
he
recruits.
was
What did
listen,
what
he
did he
was
do?
about football with the Patriots.
He's always been about football. It is what
With
it
the
is, man.
Patriots.
Like, he's a
With the Patriots.
successful person. He's
Yeah, no,
single
I'm not
and now he's
denying it.
dating.
I'm just not on board with the college stunt right now. But that's not a topic. That's not a topic for today. That's not a topic.
That's not a topic for today. All right, so to conclude, basically, this was gonna be a perfect weekend for Miami teams. Like the Hurricanes are in the playoffs. The Panthers dominated win yesterday. We have the and remember, guys, the Panthers, they were top 6 in the East last season, and they won back to back. So they're having an up and down season right now. They still should be a threat at the ending if they make it to the playoffs, which they supposed to make it to the playoffs. They
They'll
still
make
got
it.
the right pieces. They still got the right
Well, the
pieces towards
biggest.
it.
Sorry to cut you
Um,
off, Raul, if I may. But their biggest problem, unironically, has been the goaltending issue. They really
yeah,
need to clean it up in the goalie side.
yeah,
I love Bobby. Bobby will always be a legend in South Florida, but I think this
Facts.
will be his last season in South Florida, unfortunately, because he has not been good at all. Like, and his stats show. Daniel Tarasov, he's going to be our future, but even he has been very questionable throughout his time in South Florida. Just like you were saying before, like the team's dealing with injuries, man. And for where they're standing at right now, it's actually not a bad position for them. Because like going again, as you were saying, they were the 6th seed last year, and since they have all their guys out now, once they get Barkov back, who's looking really nice, Kachuk's gonna be back soon, and we're gonna get a lot of our bench
yeah.
pieces back, like Itu Luostarinen, who got injured in a barbecuing accident, for example. Like the Florida Panthers have just had they've had the bad luck strike hit them. They've had
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
a lot of bad luck
Especially the
this
last
year.
couple of years.
We still
No,
got a long season. We still got a
yeah,
Not
long
just
and
that,
season.
but
that's
Yeah.
also just to jump off of Nick on the goalie side, they've never had to worry about that because Bobby was just that great.
That's
They've
true.
never had
That's
to
true.
worry about it, but now
well,
Like
I mean,
their defense had to contribute, but at the same time, like
yeah,
if they
no,
were
for
having an
sure. But
off game, like
you're
he
even in the
basically
off
knows
game,
how
you're not thinking.
to.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
just to cap this off, so we save on time. Like when you look at Bobby, even in an off game, you're not like, oh, we gotta get more help. You're just like, okay,
I
bad
got
game,
you.
bounce
Yeah,
back.
well, I feel like this year's kind of different in that sense because yeah, we've already
Yeah,
been to
no,
three
I'm
straight
just saying in
finals.
years past. I'm
Oh
saying in
no,
years past,
I mean,
you haven't worried about it.
well, actually, yes, but in his first season as a Florida Panther, Bobrovsky, a lot of Panthers fans actually questioned him a lot because he wasn't living up to that standard of that contract. He really
Hmm.
didn't start showing out until was it the series? It was the series before we played Vegas. It was the conference finals before we played Vegas, and he started balling out all of a sudden. And that was the moment that Sergei Bobrovsky came to life.
yeah,
And then throughout the regular season, the following season, he had his ups and downs. Like it's like you said at that point, it got more consistent to the games where it's like, oh, just a bad night, just an off night. He'll be a
yeah. Of
brick wall
course.
the next game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Well,
this is
let's start the jump to
Still,
our next topic,
still,
guys.
still,
yeah.
yeah. Still put some respect on his name. All right. So since we're hitting the 30-minute mark, I'm just trying to say that it was gonna be a perfect weekend for Miami. The Hurricanes are in the playoffs. The Panthers won yesterday. We expect them long longevity
Panthers.
throughout the season to like still be in the playoffs and be one of the biggest threats. Let's just say maybe not the favorites, but be one of the biggest threats. The Dolphins, they turn around their season. Obviously, we don't expect them to make the playoffs, but this saves Mike McDaniel's head coaching job. even though you guys don't agree with me. I'm trying. Trust me.
What's
This
the
is
record?
Let's
Chris.
keep it
Chris.
going. Let's keep it going, guys. We're
Chris
talking about
Greer.
this.
Chris Greer is out,
I'm cutting that
but
out.
Mike McDaniels right now is not in the hot seat. Trust me. And then the Inter Miami won their first MLS Cup.
Very exciting. Congratulations, Messi.
So then those teams that actually had a little bit more difficulty, basically prevailing throughout those type of games or making it to the playoffs, like the Hurricanes, Inter winning their first MLS Cup, Panthers having a down season, the Dolphins have turned around. The Heat lose against one of the worst teams in the Western Conference, and then all of a sudden Zach LaVine looks like a superstar with 42 points. Come on, man.
Let's not forget the 30 he had in the first half.
Jesus. All right, but still, Miami, the Heat are still having a good season. But we got to bounce back.
There's no panic yet.
Yeah. So let's see how they do for the third time on the road against Orlando. In actually, it's a crucial game because it's a in-season game, but it's not a crucial game because something's gonna happen to us if we lose. Yeah, it would be nice if they make it to the semifinals. So let's see if they bounce back. All right, so guys, these are actually the real headlines for today's show. Let's start off with the first one. The Indianapolis Colts lose Daniel Jones for the season and fall to the Jacksonville Jaguars 36-19, which is actually a Florida team that still doesn't convince me that they can make noise in the playoffs. Maybe you guys are against me with this. But now, let's focus more on Indianapolis. They've been leading the South Division from the start. All of a sudden, they've been regressing from the first to the second. Now they're in the third position because Houston won yesterday. That's going to be the second topic. And the Jaguars right now, let's just say, they don't look like the favorites to win the South. They got competition with the Texans. But at the same time, they're not that bad. But let's focus on a team that was supposed, like the Steelers, who bounced back with a big win against the Ravens, literally have that big percentage to clinch their division. So, Nick, we'll start out with you. Are the Colts in danger of not even making it to the playoffs after that Daniel Jones injury?
Well, absolutely. I feel like it's an easy question for everyone. Absolutely, you cannot look at this Indianapolis Colts team and say that they are complete without Daniel Jones. And it's even crazy to think about that right now, especially we've seen Daniel Jones on the New York Giants and how he's transformed himself into this almost MVP candidate-esque quarterback.
Better organization, though.
Better organization, better offensive line. He's got everything he wants over there. I just don't see Riley Leonard or Anthony Richardson carrying the load forward. And even Riley Leonard this upcoming week is dealing with a knee injury right now. So we'll even see if he finds time to touch the field. And Brandon, I know Colts fans definitely don't want to see Anthony Richardson out there. Sorry, Raul. Don't mean to diss your Florida players like that. Don't mean to diss any Florida players like that. But he has not been good. And honestly, it's going to sound crazy, but the Miami Dolphins could be one of those teams that could look to jump the Indianapolis Colts in the future. And the Ravens have been struggling, the Chiefs have been struggling. So the Colts
we'll get to the Chiefs later.
Well, yeah, we'll get to the Chiefs later, but the Colts right now they're in desperate need to win some games, because they're not looking hot right now.
Honestly, I'll give the Ravens a better chance to jump than the Dolphins. I'm not gonna count on Lamar Jackson, man. So come on.
Yeah, I got you. I'm agreeing with you in that.
But I do agree with Nick. They're not complete. Of course, quarterback is almost like a point guard in the NBA, or at least what it used to be. The most important position, facilitating the offense, getting the ball down moving the chains down the field. I mean, you don't trust these other quarterbacks. Even with Richardson, I would feel a bit better compared to the other ones. I'm just not feeling who are the other stringers, Nick? Who are the other stringers?
So on their official roster, they have Riley Leonard and Anthony Richardson as their backup.
We just came out of a national championship with Notre Dame.
There you go.
Yeah, but I'm not feeling confident, especially to what they want to do, which is of course make the playoffs. I don't see those capabilities with any of them. But with Richardson, I would be like, okay, he knows the system, and I'll be cautiously optimistic. I'll be like, okay, maybe. But everyone else, I'm just like, you're a lost cause. You had a great run, fun run. You had a hot start to the season. Daniel Jones was balling, and of course, it was amazing given the hardest times he had with the Giants. But without him, it's just not there. Nothing is there for them, man. I think they're out.
All right, so basically, to answer this question is about, are the Colts in danger of not making it to the playoffs? I think we should evaluate a little bit more, not Daniel Jones basically missing the rest of the season, because still the Colts, they are top 5 rushing team with Jonathan Taylor. He could win the best offensive player. Maybe he can carry that team. I mean, you guys remember when Carson Wentz a couple of years ago was with that team and they surprised the hell out of the Jaguars in the last game of the season? Like,
even then, even Jacoby Brissett.
And Shane Steichen was not even the coach. I believe in Shane Steichen, ex-offensive coordinator from the Philadelphia Eagles. I believe he can still do a little bit of adjustments, either if it's with Riley Leonard, who's a rookie coming out of Notre Dame, or is with Anthony Richardson, which I completely agree with Nick. I don't think that's going to be the option unless Riley Leonard is not available for next game. So he definitely is going to be the second stringer. One interception on your 45 yards, 58% completion, one rushing touchdown. Let's just say it was a decent debut for him. The team is still one of the best in point scoring, top 5. Now in yard passing, maybe they're going to regress. Defensively, I agree that what worries me is against the remaining schedule. This is where I am going to add something that you guys did not mention. So they play the Seahawks. They are one of the worst teams in passing yards allowed. And they play against Sam Darnold. Then they play against Brock Purdy. Then they play against Trevor Lawrence, who actually has had a decent season. And then they play the Texans. So I believe that is most based on their remaining schedule against top elite quarterbacks, which they cannot stop or pressure the quarterbacks. Like, they can really not stop the passing game. They are doing good with the rushing game and points allowed, but with the passing game, they are terrible. And now they're going to play Sam Darnold, which the Seahawks are 10-3. Brock Purdy and the 49ers, 9-4. Trevor Lawrence, which I'm not giving him the most credit of why the team is where they are right now, leading the South Division, where the Colts are now from the first to now dropping to the third. And then the Texans, where I believe at the end of the season, they have 4 games remaining. Jaguars have exactly the same. I feel like the Texans are going to win that division. The Jaguars are going to be 2. And then what we're seeing in the West Division, we got 2 teams that should make it with the leading team, the Broncos, the Chargers. Then we go to the North, where we got 1 team actually only making it. Then we got the Bills and the Patriots. So right now, definitely they are in danger of not making it to the playoffs, but they're not completely out.
Raul,
Raul,
all those teams are in playoff contention. Do you think right now without Jones they can live up, or at least live up to performance wise against those teams?
I'm gonna give the benefit of the doubt to Shane Steichen. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna give the guy that was an amazing offensive coordinator with the Eagles And now, basically, he's been a big reason how Daniel Jones is having the best season of his whole damn career. How Jonathan Taylor actually now has, again, become one of the best running backs in the league.
My biggest thing, and I want to point you out on that, Jonathan Taylor has had an amazing season, and I can even stand for that. He's on my fantasy team. Thank you, Jonathan Taylor, very much.
Which
But
is legal,
the
by
one,
the way. Which is legal.
but the one thing that
is legal.
Jonathan,
Which is legal. I mean, he's not gonna win MVP. He's gonna win
well,
Offensive Player of the Year.
Well, here's the
He's
thing with
definitely gonna
Jonathan
win
Taylor
Offensive
so
Player of
far.
the
In
Year.
the last 3 weeks for Jonathan Taylor and his offensive production, he has even broken the 100 yards rushing, 100-yard rushing marker in the past 3 weeks. Mind you, the last time he put up 100 yards rushing, it was against Atlanta, and he had 244. Against Houston a couple weeks ago, he had over 100 plus yards in scrimmage, but he also has had 1 touchdown in 3 weeks as well. I feel like the offense has been relying a little bit too much on him. I mean, his carrying percentage is pretty good, but again, I just don't see it. I don't see them going very far with only Jonathan Taylor because teams. No, I get what you're saying, but I just think teams are gonna game plan very well now with that Daniel Jones is out, and they're gonna make Riley Leonard. They're gonna really test Riley Leonard and show how weak he is, and they're gonna really target Jonathan Taylor now. So I think Jonathan Taylor right now more than ever is gonna have to be like Derrick Henry, but I don't see it happening. And I love Jonathan Taylor.
What I'm trying to say, all right, so
final points, guys. Final points, so we can get to the next one.
I already made my point. I'm
basically,
good.
You two are against me. So the audience knows that I actually will still give the benefit of the doubt for the Colts, especially trusting a big offensive mindset like Shane Steichen, who's turned around this franchise with Daniel Jones reinventing himself or resuscitating his career. Jonathan Taylor demonstrating why he's still an elite running back, a good offensive line, and they still got Michael Pittman Jr., Alec Pierce. It all depends on Riley Leonard or if it's Anthony Richardson, if he also can reinvent himself. I believe like Steichen can still have this team in playoff contention. But if you ask me, all right, Raul, but are they a threat? Hell no.
Alrighty.
Okay.
Let's go to our next struggling team.
Now this one is actually surprising.
Well, yeah, this one
is actually surprising.
I don't think anybody in the NFL anticipated this happening this year.
So for the first time in 9 years, guys, the Chiefs are excluded from winning the West Division in the AFC after falling to the Texans 20-10. So it's up for grabs between the Broncos, who I actually put them as a favorite at the beginning of the season, but the Chargers, let's see what happens against the Eagles, are still in the mixture. Focusing on Kansas City, since the Texans are actually making a lot of noise and they're being healthy, they actually could go far in the AFC. But sticking with the Kansas City, has the kingdom fallen? Anthony, the floor is all yours.
Swifties, you're a one and done. you are one and done. Yeah, listen, Patrick Mahomes was not that great in this game. And usually when that happens, they fall or the refs help them out.
Anthony, sorry to cut you off. I agree that this is actually the worst game that Patrick Mahomes has ever played in his whole career. But there were 2 interceptions that was not his fault.
Yeah, I wasn't going to say they were.
Not his fault.
It's just there was nothing consistent. They had no momentum. Even though the second half, you saw more defensive intensity, they had nothing going for them because unfortunately their defense is not going to score that many touchdowns for them. And they just had the defense of the Texans. They just were able to really make it hard on them. And that hit on Travis Kelce towards the end, I mean,
that was all Kelsey's fault.
Yeah, they had nothing going for them. They're completely disorganized. They look out of it, and I think they're gonna miss the playoffs. I'll say it now. They're out of there. They're not making it.
Okay.
Nick?
Wow. I don't want to say that the dynasty's completely fallen yet. When you start.
So wait. All right. So if you're saying, sorry, Nick, but if they're not making the playoffs, the question is, has the Chiefs' kingdom fallen?
I'll say yes.
Nick?
Well, I don't want to jump into anything yet, so I'm going to start with this. When you have Patrick Mahomes as your quarterback, every game is you have a chance to win every single game you have when you have Patrick Mahomes as your quarterback. That guy, I've seen him turn games around in a blink of an eye, you know. But this entire Chiefs team itself is they're old, they're slow. The Chris Jones has not looked good. Patrick Mahomes is actually having the second lowest completion percentage in his career next to his rookie season at 63%. And he's making well with what he has as his receivers, which is basically only Rashee Rice. Juju Smith-Schuster is very whatever as a receiver right now in his career, and even McCole Hardman has not looked very good. And Xavier Worthy has been up and down for the most part throughout the season. They have some nice pieces, I will say. Nick Bolton is a great piece to have on the defensive side. Um, but again, Travis Kelce, like going back to my antics about the Swifties, Travis Kelce's going to be done after this season. They're going to have to look for a new tight end. They need more money than ever for their offensive line because Jawan Taylor's been out for a little while now, and they even have Christian Fulton out for the foreseeable future. Hopefully, he comes back next week for them so he can play. But I don't want to press the panic button yet. I think if they lose next week, that's when they really need to. I know they have no shot of winning the AFC West at all, but
No,
that's a
no,
little.
no. They are officially out of winning it. It's
Well,
not
there
a
you go.
shot. They're
Well,
out
there
officially.
you go. Well, there you go. They don't have a shot at winning it. So, but they still have a chance to make the playoffs because again, they're competing at this point against the Dolphins, the Colts, and the Ravens. And Lamar Jackson's looked very whatever for the most part this season. He has not looked consistent at all, and that's again from fantasy and from watching him every single week. He has not looked like he has been in MVP form, and for what I've anticipated from him this season. Lamar Jackson has been very hesitant throughout with holding the ball for the most part. He's relied more on passing than running, which I'm very happy that he's like developing as a player, especially at his age. And even last year we saw it with the 44 touchdowns to like 4 interception ratio. It was ridiculous, and he should have won MVP. But this season, he's looked confused, man. Like there's times where he's rolling out in the pocket and he's trying to make a play, and you could just tell that he can't decide whether he wants to run with the ball or throw it. And Derrick Henry hasn't looked very good either. They really just use him on the goal line. Every now and then he'll break out for a 120-yard run, and then he'll just drop, and then they have B.J. Hill come in the game. So I'm not necessarily worried about the Ravens too much. The Dolphins,
Justice Hill, you mean the running back?
well, Justice Hill, thank you. Yeah,
Yeah,
no, sorry,
sorry.
B.J. Hill's another player.
Yeah, sorry.
No, you're good. Appreciate it. And then the Miami Dolphins, for example, that's another team that they're going to have to go through because the Miami Dolphins have struggled on the offensive end all season. Their best player has been Devon Achane, and their defense recently has looked like a top 5 defense in the NFL. So if they can be consistent, they can actually surpass the Chiefs. But I still think the Chiefs have a little bit of gas left. I never want to count them out, especially with Patrick Mahomes. So no, I don't think the kingdom's going to fall yet.
I would just say this: they only get older from here.
Of
Unless they find talent out of nowhere that's just young and can spark him up like right away, I just don't see any optimism for them at all.
Well, listen, man. A lot of these championship teams, it's really hard to repeat. And what the Kansas City Chiefs have done consistently for years now has been
I'm not
it's similar.
discrediting them, but we've only seen right now, we've seen LeBron and Tom Brady who can be old as hell and just ball out.
Well, get ready because Patrick Mahomes is going to be one of those guys.
Respect
Patrick Mahomes is gonna be one of those guys.
I'm not singing Mahomes. I don't think so. I don't think when he's 40 he's gonna be the same like Tom Brady level. I don't see it.
All right. So
I think
finish, Anthony. Let me know when I can.
I just think it's over. I just really think it's over.
All right. So first of all, Nick, sorry, Michael Harmon's not with the team. Remember that? They replaced him. They replaced him with Tyquan Thornton, and they have Hollywood Brown.
Hollywood Brown. That's who I was thinking.
Hollywood Brown. Hollywood Brown is actually playing decently. 5 touchdowns, almost 500 yards this season. They still got a good actually running back duo between Isaiah Pacheco, Puerto Rican, and Kareem Hunt, who's actually looking at himself in his Cleveland Brown days. Travis Kelce has reinvented himself because last year was probably one of his worst years. Right now, he's one of the leading touchdown offensive players of this team, especially in yards and receptions. Juju Smith-Schuster, I think he's on his last moments. Rashee Rice, he didn't play the first half of the season because he was suspended. And he's actually one of the top offensive players. You got Xavier Worthy, who is entering his 2nd season. We still have expectations with him. This team, even with the struggles that they have, they're still one. Surprisingly, you're not even gonna believe me with these stats. They're actually top 10 in yards, top 5 in passing, top 20 in running, which is with Kareem Hunt and Isaiah Pacheco. You don't expect them to have like a big impactful like the Lions and what you expected from the Ravens and the Eagles and other teams. Actually, the Bears have one of the best offensive jar running, and then they're one of the top 15 in point scoring. Defensively, in the past 2 seasons, including now this one as a third, they've been the most consistent and efficiently, even with Chris Jones not having like that impactful type of season of his own career. And so when I'm mentioning this type of stats, the Chiefs this decade, excluding the beginning, they had the most balanced team. All of a sudden, they were one of the worst, or if not the worst drop passing teams offensively. That's not Patrick Mahomes' fault. All of a sudden, they've had so many injuries in the past seasons with their offensive players, not defensively. When they won their first championship this decade, it was all about Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill. Before then, he left to the Miami Dolphins, so they had to rely on them. All of a sudden, it was their defense was horrible. All of a sudden, their defense became efficient and elite, and then their offense regressed. Surprisingly, having Mahomes and Travis Kelce and a couple of pieces, they led in I forgot what I just said. In dropping passes. Sorry, guys. Dropping passes. Then the next year they have the most injuries in their offensive side, and they still have 5 appearances in the Super Bowl and 3 championships. And now this season, where it looks that they can actually not make the playoffs, I gotta agree with Nick. I'm still gonna give the benefit of the doubt to Andy Reid, to Patrick Mahomes, and Travis Kelce to figure a way out like they've done. 9 years winning the West Division, that is over with. But then, minimum since 2018, making to the AFC Championship game. Minimum. Maximum Super Bowl. And then having 3 titles. And one of those Super Bowls that they lost, they didn't have their best offensive linemen. They were all injured. Last season, it was the same thing and a couple of other injuries, and they still find a way to at least make it to the Super Bowl. So this is a team that we can still give the benefit of the doubt. They will figure some way to at least make it. Let's exclude. All right, it's an end for you. It's a wrap for you guys making it to the AFC Championship game. Okay, sure. Right now, for this season, I'm not going to say the next season. Next season, they're probably going to do a couple of moves. And if they're healthy, they can make it back. But I just cannot find myself to see this team not making it to the playoffs. So if they make it to the playoffs, but they don't make it as far as the AFC Championship game, I still cannot say that their kingdom is done or fallen, or what other big radio TV stations have said. Is this the end of the dynasty? I mean, oh my God. Guys, they just made the Super Bowl for the 5th time this decade. They only missed once, and they should have been there because they were leading 24-3 in the first half against the Bengals. They beat themselves in that AFC Championship game. People were more surprised how the Bengals made a comeback. They were supposed to go to another Super Bowl, so that would have been 6 straight Super Bowl appearances. And now, because if they probably don't make it to the playoffs, the kingdom is fallen. Oh my God, you guys are really now tripping.
Are we done there?
I mean, I think I said everything I had to say.
I mean, Raul and I are on the same page, Anthony. I mean,
listen.
I understood your point, but
listen, for me, these guys are getting older, and I don't expect
I
the
agree.
Chiefs
I agree
to
with
just
that.
get a bunch of prospects and then all of a sudden they all contribute at the very same time. I don't see that.
I feel Xavier Worthy is gonna be like the first option for them in the future.
Of course, but
I say Pacheco, the Puerto Rican, is still young.
But you can't expect just every young player you got and that you're gonna get in the draft just to click like that, and then all of a sudden you're back to contention. Because I just don't see that. And Travis Kelce, he's probably done after this season, if not next season.
Yeah, Kelce is probably out
he's
after
done
this season. But I'm still gonna give.
He doesn't have it in.
I will agree with you, Anthony. Okay, Anthony, I will agree with you. All right, if Travis Kelce retires, I'm still not gonna be in the same page with you. Mm-hmm. If either Patrick or Andy Reid is out, that's where the dynasty and the kingdom is officially fallen and over with. That's where I'm trying to get with it.
All right, let's jump into this next one. We can expand a little bit on this one.
We got.
It doesn't matter.
I mean, we got 4 more minutes towards this one.
Behind that either way, so we're good.
College football prediction, guys. Miami is in, which we're obviously celebrating, but we saw surprises this weekend. Let's start off with this one, with a team that actually has had the best season in program history, Indiana Hoosiers.
And sorry to cut you off, but probably one of the worst post-game interviews I've ever seen in my life. I love you, Fernando Mendoza, but you lost a bunch of points for me that post-game.
But I mean, he was not the biggest reason why they won. Maybe he was. Maybe it was most the defense. I believe it's the defense that allowed that Ohio State offense with only 10 points. Especially Julian Sagan, who's actually having a good career and could be a future prospect in the NFL. The defense deserves the MVP, but they gave it to him. I understand it. He had the touchdown pass. So, all right, guys, seeing the bracket, let's just go little by little. That's why I say that we can actually wrap this up as quickly as possible, because then every single week, we're going to be talking about who we can see going to the quarterfinals against the top 4 teams, who we can see then going to the semifinals, and then who's going to make it to the national championship game and win it all. So this is the bracket right now. James Madison University against Oregon. Whoever wins goes against Texas Tech in the quarterfinals. Alabama and Oklahoma. Whoever wins goes against the number 1 team, Hoosiers. Then we got Tulane, who plays Ole Miss. Whoever wins goes against Georgia, who I believe is the biggest threat in the whole playoffs. And then we got Miami, well-deserved, playing against Texas A&M. Whoever wins goes against Ohio State. So let's just start with the first round. Who do we see going out of the first round and into the quarterfinals? Since Anthony had the last word, Nick, it's your turn.
Well, I mean, I feel like the first round's kind of a cakewalk to explain, in my opinion. I'm going to take Oregon over JMU for obvious reasons.
Come on now.
I don't think JMU is going to be competing with Oregon in that game. I think Dante Moore is going to show the world that he wants to win that national championship.
When I saw the schedule, I'm like, man, Nick actually has a reason, and Anthony as well. Like, who do they play top 25?
I can't even name you who they play top 25.
They actually didn't play any top 25 team.
There you go.
Except in the last game. It was not a top 25. I'm sorry.
Damn, that's weak.
Well, that's what I'm saying. JMU had such a great record that
they played Troy. Sorry. Because they're in the conference.
Troy's garbage every single year. Troy's the
That's what I'm saying. So that's what I'm saying. So just to clear it out for the audience, James Madison finishing the season winning the conference 0-8, in their conference, and with one of the best records, 12-1. They played a non-top 25.
Well, and for that reason, I think they're going to get demolished by Oregon. Who knows? It's college football, so anything can happen. But in this
If you
scenario,
have a
no,
bad
Oregon.
afternoon, bad evening, you never know.
Nah,
And then
this is a cakewalk for Oregon.
All right,
moving on
so
A little bit
Alabama,
something now.
Oklahoma.
A little bit something now.
for,
Alabama,
for
Oklahoma.
I'm actually going to take Alabama in that game. I think Alabama's going to. I think Ty Simpson might step up in that game. I don't think it's going to be a great quarterback duel between John Mateer and Ty Simpson, two quarterbacks that have not looked very good in the past few weeks. That game is going to be pure defense. I feel like it's going to be down to the wire, but Bama's going to take that one. I feel like.
Ole Miss,
I'm going.
Tulane.
I'm going
Wait, wait.
Oklahoma.
Oh, why are you going Oklahoma? I want to know.
I mean, the way Alabama just got destroyed by Georgia, I didn't like. I didn't, dude. The quarterback looked like he was shaking the entire time.
Mm.
Julius
And,
saying.
I'm pulling Oklahoma on this one.
well,
I mean,
not Julian.
Ty Simpson. Ty Simpson.
Yeah.
Sorry. Ty
Yeah, I
Simpson.
mean, he
So
was just looking.
Anthony, when you have a chance, look into John Mateer's 6 interceptions in 2 games. Anyways, so now we're gonna move on to Tulane and Ole Miss. I think this one's another easy one. I think Ole Miss is gonna win. I do think it would have been a closer game if Tulane still had their head coach. Actually, no, the head coach is finishing off the playoff, right? He's gonna finish the playoff for
Yeah,
Tulane.
he's unlike Ole Miss. They keep their head coach.
Yeah, I was gonna say my Ole Miss was my dark horse if Lane Kiffin ended up staying for the playoffs. They were my dark horse for the entire playoff, but I do think now that's gonna be a pretty close game. I think Ole Miss is gonna take that one.
You
Anthony,
Miami and Texas A&M.
uh, for Miami, Texas A&M, I don't want to be biased, but I'm gonna be. I'm not trying to be biased here. I'm actually trying to go off of statistics. I'm gonna take Miami in that one. Last year, Texas A&M and Miami met up in Hard Rock Stadium, and Texas A&M was not able to compete at all with Miami. Obviously, the team's a lot more grown. They're a lot better this year. But again, if you watch college football and you know the Aggies are about to fall off. You know that the Aggies aren't going to go all the way. That's just how it works. And who knows? Maybe they end up shocking us, and they make me eat my own words. But they won't.
Right, so
I feel like I could safely say Miami's going to win this
all
game.
right, so we're gonna stick with the first round only. So we got Oregon going against Texas Tech, one of the best defensive teams in the league. So that will be the quarterfinals. Then we'll do analysis next week towards that. We got Alabama, Oklahoma. You picked Alabama going against Indiana. You got Tulane over Ole Miss.
No, Ole Miss over Tulane.
Oh, okay. Ole Miss against Tulane. Okay, Ole Miss against Georgia, and then you got Miami against Ohio State. All right, Anthony.
Oregon, easy. I mean, that's gonna be like probably 50-0. I'm going Oklahoma.
I feel like that's gonna be like a college basketball March Madness. You never know. Like
I'm
all of a
going.
sudden they
I'm going.
surprise
I'm
you.
going Oklahoma over Alabama. I didn't like the way Alabama looked in the championship game.
You know that John Mateer is 2 interceptions away from tying his touchdowns, passing touchdowns.
Man, we saw Carson Beck go through a hard stretch as well, man. I'm not gonna factor that in yet.
Not John
But-
Mateer mode, but
It's a
okay.
crazy
I don't know,
combo.
man. I don't know. I
Crazy.
just didn't like Alabama in that championship game. I didn't like it, so I feel like that might creep up on them, just momentum wise. I feel like momentum.
I feel like Kellen DeBoer is gonna be in the hot seat if he loses that game.
Then yeah, and then I feel
And
like
especially remember, and Anthony, remember, Alabama's second loss of the season was against Oklahoma, so I feel like they're gonna try to reinvent themselves.
well, hey, that could. I mean, I think it'll be close, but I feel like Oklahoma will pull out of there. Tulane, Ole Miss. I'm going with Ole Miss, but I feel like Tulane could put up a fight. But then again, I might just be delusional on that one because one of my bosses is a Tulane fan, so I'm trying to be on the good side of my bosses here. But you know, I got Ole Miss. And then I'm rocking to you. Like I said, momentum I feel like matters. The way they ended the season on a 4-game winning streak. You know, offensively they clicked, defensively they were amazing. The lineman from Texas was like Ruben Bain, who I feel like that's going to really knock the word out of them. I feel like it's going to do that. So give me the U.
All right, so I'm gonna wrap this up as quickly as possible so we can finish today's sports show. First game, I mean, trying to go against you guys, but
dude,
how am I gonna
come
how am I gonna pick James Madison over Oregon?
I mean, if you pick the first round really quick, we could do the second round really quick, and we could debate on that.
I mean, I would try because it's
we'll
better.
Save for that episode. We'll save for that episode.
It's better if we wait until
Let's
who
stretch it out.
goes
Let's
the next round. Who goes the next round, and then we'll do our predictions there.
Hang on,
depending on what we saw in the result.
Real quick before you go on, Nick, you tried doing a 23-page paper on why James Madison could win against Oregon. Let's see you try doing that.
Okay, I could do that.
Don't try to do this shit.
Really?
I could do it. I think if I tried hard enough, I think I actually could make that argument.
What'd you say?
Repeat that
again.
Keep going.
All right. If you try hard, yeah. So Oregon, obviously, I would like to put them as an upset, but when you see a team that is top 15 offensively, top 3 defensively in the league, obviously, and then you got James Madison, who is out of their rankings in both categories and hasn't played a top 25 team in the league, I gotta have Oregon, obviously, possibly humiliating them. All right, so Oklahoma and Alabama, I feel like Alabama is gonna reinvent themselves. Even though Oklahoma is a better defensive team than them, I'm still going to stick with Ty Simpson. Because a lot of people were talking about him possibly being a future prospect. So this is his moment. And at the same time, Heisman. And he lost it in that game. And so I feel like this is a moment to shine and prove to everybody that he can be a future prospect to the NFL. Then we got Tulane and Ole Miss. I gotta stick with Ole Miss because, guys, do you guys know that Tulane got humiliated by one of the best top 25 teams in the league this season? Why don't you guys try to guess who they lost 45-10 this season? And surprisingly, you know what I'm saying, because of their record and then winning the conference championship, they are inside the college football playoffs. Why don't you guess who they lost humiliatingly?
Just so happened to be the team that they're playing against right now.
Good job. What
happened to reinvention, huh?
They lost 45-10 against Ole Miss. So let's just exclude that, and then UM and Texas A&M. Aggies have had their best, one of the best, if not the best season of program history, even when they had Johnny Manziel. But guys, this is Section 305 the Sports Show. We're all about Gator Nation in my side. But since I am Miami,
just say it.
A Miami native. Let's just say about that. Since I got adopted, I'm a U.S. citizen. I'm from Puerto Rico. We're U.S. territory.
You have to clarify that.
Just to reiterate.
Just so let everybody know. And I'm a Miami Heat fan, number one. MLB, I'm a Yankee fan, but then a Marlins fan. And people will be surprised but you know the Marlins beat the Yankees in 2003. Yeah, I know that. I'm still having nightmares from that. But that's my second team. I'm a Florida Panther. I'm a Florida Panther in the NHL. I'm glad the Dolphins having a good season after starting horrible, but everybody knows I'm a Patriot fan. So obviously, I gotta support the UM. You know why? Because I believe more in their defense than their offense. Their defense is top 10 in the league. They've been more consistent than the offense. So I'm gonna rely more on their defense, who basically is a big threat offensively from Texas A&M. That you would say, I got to take this in consideration, and I actually would be afraid of this type of offensive weapons. After what we saw against Texas, they were one game away to making it to the SEC championship game, and they've lost 3 straight important games against the Longhorns since 2011. No, so in big moments, if you don't have your quarterback like Marcel Reed, who had 2 interceptions and only 180 yards passing, 20 for 32 passing, I'm sorry, but I feel like the Miami defense is better than the Texas. Do you agree or disagree?
Definitely better. But also, you look at the depth that Miami has. I mean, when they were down bodies, you saw freshmen stand up. You saw George Pringle step up after Mark Fletcher went down. Malachi Tony.
Hey, Nick, who won Offensive Player of the Year? Who won Offensive Player of the Year in the ACC?
You mean Offensive Rookie of the Year?
Yeah.
You look at Malachi Tony. I mean, that dude's a star. He's going to show out against anybody. And
who was one of the best running backs in the ACC?
Let's
Mark
not.
Fletcher.
Well, and let's not forget
the not just that. I'm talking about depth, because when Mark was out, you had George Pringle step up, and he did pretty good.
Jordan Lyles.
They got 3 good running backs who I've told Nick numerous times is what's been carrying the offense. It's not been Carson Beck. Come on, man.
No, I'm not even saying I even said Beck's name, but I'm just saying the depth that
Carson Beck. If he doesn't make mistakes, that's all they need. They just need a little bit of production in offensively.
One of the best O-lines, in the nation,
and we got one of the best defenses. So I'm gonna go with the U. Yeah. It's the only thing that all 3 of us is gonna agree for today's sports show. Any last words?
Let's go you, man. Let's go you. That's all I'm gonna say. Let's go with the U.
All right, guys. So this was another good, amazing episode of Section 305, the sports show. Next week, we got a couple of more headlines going on with how the season right now is with the NBA. At the same time, moves that we're seeing from the MLB. We already have the college football playoff bracket. NFL right now, teams that are coming back could actually surprise others that had more expectations of making it to the playoffs. College basketball, both male and female. There's some teams that are undefeated still. And on the female side, we're already getting a glimpse of who are the ones that are favorites, contenders right now. So there's a lot going in North American sports. So we'll have another special episode for you guys next week. I'm Raul Pagan with my colleagues Nick Dupont and Anthony Aguirre. We'll see you guys next week.
Go Canes!